Yeah.
A very good evening. Welcome to Advancing Northeast. So we have a very special guest here. And before we introduce our guest to our audiences, I would like to begin with what Advancing Northeast is. And yes, I am Joyshri Padgiri from Advancing Northeast NetFee. So Advancing Northeast is a digital initiative by the Ministry of Development of Northeastern Region, Government of India, Northeastern Council, and it is implemented by Northeast Development Finance Corporation NetFee. So the portal works with a vision to serve as a one-stop solution for the youths of Northeast in the field of education, employment, and entrepreneurship. So under these three segments, we try to bring in relevant information to connect with the youths of Northeast for them to help make informed decisions in career and livelihood. So the portal also works as a kind of virtual career mentor for the youths of Northeast. So to serve the very aim further, we have this career talk segments, and under this career talk, we have this study abroad and work abroad segments where we bring in professionals and experts from different areas, from different topics, people from Northeast itself who have achieved and secured positions outside India. So here we are with yet another study abroad and work abroad segment. And the guest we have today is Miss Ankita Bora from Assam itself. She's a PhD scholar at Technische Universität Dresden, Saxony, Germany. Correct me if I'm wrong with the pronunciation. So hello, Ankita. Welcome to Advancing Northeast. We are very excited for the session. Yeah. Yeah. So for the beginning, why don't you take us through your journey a little, your academic life, how was your schooling, graduation, and everything, please?
Okay. Thank you, Joshri, for the invitation. I'm really pleasure to be here. So brief introduction. I am Ankita Bora, and I come from Jorhat, Assam, and currently I'm pursuing my PhD in the chair of physical chemistry in TU Dresden. So to start with my academic life, I would say, so everyone starts with school. So I did my schooling in Common School, Jorhat. Then I did my +2, that is 11th and 12th, from KV RRL, so I think now it's NEAST. So from there I did, and then after that I started with my bachelor's in chemistry from Maitri College, Delhi University. And after that I came back to Assam for my master's in Guwahati University. After that I did an MTech from IIT Delhi. And after that I started with my PhD here in Dresden. So that is my brief, career path that I took.
Okay. So yeah, just like any other child, schooling, everything.
Yeah.
So you chose chemistry for your academics, right, afterwards. So how did you, were you always that child that you were clear about your career choices, or was it a different turn of event that led you choose the subject you did? And what impact did it make on your career decision?
Yeah, I mean, what you once you have taken up science in 11th and 12th, and after that what you will do majorly depends on what kind of liking you develop towards a particular subject. I think it's 11th and 12th which decides. Sometimes I feel that it's unfair because we are at a very young age that we have to decide for ourselves, but then this is how it is now. So 11th and 12th, I did not have much liking towards physics and maths. So I was more inclined towards chemistry and biology. So, so based on these two subjects, I had to decide what I would do after my 12th. So, naturally now you have the options of doing medical or doing basic sciences in botany, chemistry, or zoology. And so definitely medical did not work out for me. And so I, during my 12th, I think I was pretty sure that if not medical, then I would do chemistry as like chemistry honors. And I really wanted to study in Delhi University since then. So I was. My 12th results came out. I got really good marks in chemistry, and I think that is when I decided that okay, now I go with chemistry. And like also, I just like a side note to if people want to study chemistry in from DU or other places. So when I saw my 12th result, when I saw my chemistry marks, I was really happy that I would get like one of the top colleges of DU. But then later on, I came to know that it's not the subject, just the subject which they will see. It's like a combination of physics, chemistry, and maths. Or like if you want to go to botany or zoology, they will see the physics, chemistry, and biology marks in total. So if you think that you would do one subject and you are aiming a particular college, then you should also not ignore the other subjects which comes as a combination. So physics, chemistry, maths, you should pay equal attention to all of them. Then you have now, I think DU has really high cutoffs if you want to go to, like back then it was for my college, I think it was 85%. And even though I got really good marks in chemistry, because my marks in maths was not very good. So therefore I got in the South campus and not in the North campus, which I was hoping to get into.
Okay. Yeah, very important points that I think most of the students are not really aware of until they appear for the test, and then they get to know about it. Yeah. So you said because of that you got into the South campus and everything. So how was the preparation to get into that examination also? Like what kind of preparation did you do for your test?
Oh, so I'm talking about bachelor's actually.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
For bachelor's, you don't need
Okay.
another exam. So it's just your 12th boards exams which they see.
Okay.
So it's like
Just
physics, chemistry, and maths, what you
Uh-huh.
get in your, and they bring out a list of like a cutoff list according to every college. And yeah, that's
Okay,
this
so
just
then that CUET concept was not
no.
okay, yeah.
No, it is
That
not
was
there.
that was what I was asking. So after that, after that now you are in the research field. So what attracted you to the research sector? Like when you did your graduation, did your college, do you have any influence over your future choice? And can you also shed some light on the research area? What are the levels? What are the skills required and everything?
So, I mean, more than bachelor's, I would say a master's would play a major role for your research career. So more than DU, I would say it is like my master's journey, which influenced my research path that I have taken. And so, like, when you ask me, like, what attracted you to research, I would say, like, since I have joined in bachelor's, I always wanted to finish like this academic journey, and I always wanted to do a PhD since then. So it was not what attracted to me per se, but it's just what I wanted to do. So and yeah, that's the basic like line when you start with your basic sciences journey. That's how your career trajectory goes on. Like if you don't want to break out of the box and do something different completely, then it's also okay. But yeah, and for the skills that you required for research, I would say it's very important that you like develop practical knowledge and also remain updated towards research and everything like in your particular area during your masters. So I would say like when you want to do a PhD abroad, like how what you do in your masters and how you like plan everything in your masters plays a very big role. So like everyone I think has to do like a master thesis or master project during their masters. So I would say like to choose this master project or master thesis or internships during your masters very like tactfully and not just like randomly. And then you should be very like updated in that field. So like in masters and bachelors, we like study very basic sciences or basic concepts, but then when you come to research, it's like a whole different world. So it's very important that you I would say you already develop that skill, like when you come and like stay amongst researchers and everyone, and you all like inherently start developing the skill. But when if you want to develop the skill beforehand during your masters, I would just say that keep yourself updated, read papers, like choose a niche that you want to follow, like one particular field or one particular area of research for which you can choose a master project to do, and then keep yourself updated, like what's the research going on, what's the new papers, start following the big shots, there are big shots in every field, so you need to follow them, what they're doing, their work, so that you know how to like interpret some things and do research basically.
Okay, so the groundwork for the research actually starts when you are doing your master's. Yeah, that's how it begins. Okay, so after that you joined TU Dresden, Germany. So how did you choose your university? Like, what was the process? Can you take us through this journey of yours? Like, were you always aware about this position offered, everything?
So for me, the journey is a little bit different because I did an MTech in IIT Delhi. So when you do an MTech in the IITs, not particularly IIT Delhi, but any IIT for that matter, so they have a program called IIT TU Master Sandwich Program. So it's like a tie-up between the IITs of India and the technical universities of Germany. So so for the master's program, when you have to do your master project, which I was telling, like in MSc also you have to do a master project. In MTech also you have to do a master project. So for 7 months, they send you to TU in one of the TUs, so for every department, it's different, but the basic requirement is, I think you have to get 8.5 CGPA, above 8.5 CGPA in your first year of master's, like MTech, not MSc. MTech, you have to get 8.5, above 8.5 CGPA, and then there is this funding body called the DAAD, so DAAD. So this is the funding body which funds your research for 7 months in the TUs of Germany. So you have to be a student of IIT, you have to score above 8.5, and you have to be enrolled in an MTech program. And then you can apply for this DAAD scholarship, and then you can come to TU, one of the TUs, to do your master research. So for me, that worked out actually. So when I was in IIT, so I just thought that, okay, now I'm selected for this program, so I need to go and do research in Germany. And for this purpose, you also have to find a professor. So this list of universities is narrowed down by DAAD. So it's like 7 universities you can apply to, but which one you apply and which professor you apply to is like completely your choice. So I went through this journey of finding professors and writing them emails. So I just made down a list of professors that I want to apply to, and then I just wrote them. And lucky for me that the first professor that I wrote, it was in TU Dresden, and then he replied back. And because I think when you ask for like someone is funding me, will you take me in your group? That's like no one will say no to that. Like, if you don't have funding, then it's another story. But when you say, then they will never say no. So that's how I came to TU Dresden in this group itself. So I started my journey of research here in TU Dresden in the same group and during my master's. And while I was finishing my master's, I thought that, I will do a PhD, but not particularly here. I was not sure where I will get to. So I started applying, but then also this scholarship program in this TU Dresden came up. It's called the Early Career Female Researcher Scholarship, which is given by the TU Dresden itself. So since I was here, so I knew that like this scholarship exists, and since there was also my professor who was willing to apply for it, So then we both thought that, okay, we will apply for this. And then I applied for this, and then I went back to India to do my defense there, because you have to go back to India to do this defense. I went back, and then I got the answer that, yeah, I have received the scholarship. So then I came back to TU Dresden to start. So that's basically how it went. So it's a little different for, like, if you want to come and do PhD directly, it's a little bit different. For me, it was a little bit different.
Okay, so that also serves as a catalyst if you are in IIT, any IIT.
Yeah, any IIT MTech program, 8.5 CGPA.
Yes, yes. So that are the requirements. Also, this DAD, this is also, I have heard it a lot. It is really very helpful for the students of Northeast, and not only Northeast of India, to go outside, right? Yeah, very convenient. Also, about the scholarship you mentioned, can you tell us how do you also apply for that? Like, does it also require any criteria? Do you have to sit for any interviews, or what is the process basically?
Which one? The DAD one, or this one which I'm doing my PhD in?
Both, you can say, you can break down. Yeah.
So basically, yeah, for a scholarship program, it's, I think the body or the trajectory you need to take is the same for every scholarship. So it'll be a little different for everything, but the basic backbone of it is the same for all the scholarship, I would say. So for applying for a scholarship program, you first need a host, who will, like, like, you have your own money, but they will give you a place to work. So they will give you their lab, the facilities, and everything. So for that, you need a professor who will, like, jointly apply for the scholarship with you. So first you need to find this person. So first step of like, like, if you want to apply for a DART scholarship for PhD also, this is also the same. So first you have to write to all of these professors asking that, okay, I want to apply for a DART fellowship. Can you act as a host for me? So when that person agrees, so it's very often which will happen that they will agree to it. Like, not like, like, if you don't have funding and you write them, sometimes, like, they tend to not reply to you. But if you say that I want to apply for this particular scholarship, can you act for as a host to me? So they'll say yes, and then you start writing a proposal. So like, both you and your research supervisor, these will discuss, and they will come up with a topic of research that, okay, we will write a proposal on this topic. Then you go to his page, start reading all his papers, and then you come up with a new idea, or like, a concurrent idea which you can carry on. So that's how you write a proposal. And then you will need one recommendation letter from somewhere, like, from your past professors, or, like, academic career. Someone has to give you a recommendation letter, and the host has to give you proof that, okay, I will host this person in my university. So these are, like, the basic requirements which you will need. So recommendation letters, then you will need a proposal and a host. So once you have these three main important things, then you can go to the fellowship body. So if it's DAD or anything, then you can just fill their application form and give all of the documents, and then they will decide, like, okay, this person is applicable, or this person is suitable for the position, and they'll let you know. Sometimes they have an interview. For the DAD master's program, we did not have any interview, so they just sorted out themselves who will get the scholarship. But I think for DAD PhD, they do hold an interview. I'm not sure about it, but I think they do. So yeah, and then it's just the master student, so they'll not bombard you with research questions, I suppose. They will just ask you just normal questions, like, why do you want to do research, and all of this, and a little bit about your proposal, definitely, what you have written. So that's I think for my scholarship here in TU Dresden also, it was the same, exactly the same. So I had my host.
Okay. So, like you mentioned, your scholarship name also, it was it a women scholarship, like you said, women? So, are there any other such opportunities that are offered by TU Dresden or any other university in Germany, if you are aware of? If you could highlight those points, yeah.
Like, scholarship programs, particularly for females, I don't know. Like this in TU Dresden, definitely there is this. I can tell that only for female researchers, if someone wants to apply, the application can be written in English. Some of the applications, like there are 2 scholarships in TU Dresden. So one has to be written in German, and the second one, which is a female scholarship, you can write it in English. So this exists in TU Dresden, and likewise, I think in many universities, they will have their some kind of like scholarship or some kind of funding from their own. Like, but in general, I think there's the DAD fellowship, there's Marie Curie. Marie Curie also you can apply for PhD, I think. So that also you can take and come. And if someone wants to apply for a postdoc after their PhD, then they could come and do research here. So now there's also this Humboldt fellowship which you can look for. But for Humboldt, you have to not stay in Germany, of course. You have to come from outside and do PhD, postdoc here. So these are 3 like main funding agencies which fund you.
Okay, so after you get hold of this funds, then are isn't it difficult for suppose from a northeastern student, if somebody goes outside, because that is the first thing that comes in mind, the financial obligations, before anybody moves into outside. So do you think that it's easy to manage if you are being funded? Then how's the life of a northeast student basically there?
I think there's no difference whether you come from any part of the world. I think it's like whether you come from Northeast or whether you come from any part of the world. So like when you come for a PhD in Europe, so you will be funded. Funded means that you will be paid for the work that you do. So every month you will get a salary, which will be sufficient for you to pay your rent, for you to survive, and also save a little bit of the money that you get. So you don't have to worry about finances and all these things at all. So it's the difficult part is getting this funding and getting a position somewhere. But after this is sorted, then you don't have to worry about money. I would say that it's the salary that they pay you will be according to your needs. So like in one particular place, supposedly living costs in some city is different. So they will manage their pay accordingly, that you can pay your rent, you can pay your basic livelihood. It's not a problem, I would say.
Okay, yeah. I think that will be words of comfort for many students and many enthusiasts out there. Yeah. Regarding scholarships, you already said. Now, are there also any fellowship or internship opportunities offered by TU Dresden?
So I will correct you, it's TU Dresden.
Dresden, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Internships for masters, you mean? Because internships for PhD student, it's like doesn't exist, I would say.
Yes.
For
like any kind of opportunities, like except scholarships, like there are fellowships, right? Fellowship programs also. So yeah, like that.
So it depends. Like so when you so for a master student, for a PhD student, things will be different, I would say. So when you say fellowship for a PhD student or fellowship for a master student, it will be very different. So for a master student, I would say internships, yes, of course, when you are here, basically that's easier. So coming from India and doing an internship here is not very feasible, I would say, and I don't think it's like possible. But yeah, of course, if you have these, I don't know, there may be other fellowships which also fund your 6 months of master research, which which might you can do. Other than that, when you come for a master's here, like basically you have to be here. Like you have to be enrolled in a master program here. Then there are many internships. I think all labs look for SHK students or people who will come and intern in their labs, because also internships are paid here. So they will pay you, and yeah, but the basic requirement, I think you have to be a master student here. You cannot be there and like, come for an internship here. And for PhD, like, yeah, when you are for a PhD, you're here for a PhD, definitely you'll be paid and you don't need an internship.
Okay, okay. So now moving forward, can you tell a little about the project you are working on right now?
Yeah, so I work with semiconductor nanocrystals. So like to like explain it in a very layman's language, I would say nanocrystals or nanoparticles are like very small particles. So it's are like nano-sized particles. Like so, these are like suppose you see one material, so silicon, for example, and then you like start breaking it into such small size that it's in like the dimensions are in the nanometer range. So nanometer is 10 to the power minus 9 of meter. So you can imagine that how small this particle should be. And then when these particles, when the material is so small, then it starts like showing very different properties. So like compared to a bulk material, these nano-sized particles, they show very different properties. So one property is that when you shine light on them, they can emit a light of a particular color. So one of like the broad examples I can tell is the LEDs, I would say. So they can use these particles in the LEDs. So those small tiny lights that you see, which glows with different colors. So you can tune the size of these small particles, and according to the size, they will emit different colors. So these are so these particles are nowadays used in LEDs. So you have the Samsung quantum dot HD TVs nowadays. So now you see that the screen size are decreasing so much. It's because the particles that particle sizes are decreasing so much. So now like quantum dot displays are like a thing, Samsung a thing. So that's what basically I work with. So I chemically synthesize these particles, which are very small, and then I study their, light emission properties. So depending on their size, I shine light on them, and they give me different colors. So that's
Okay,
basically
sounds
in very
pretty, yeah.
layman's language.
Yeah, that was understandable. Thank you. I am also not from science, so I wouldn't have got it otherwise. But yeah, that sounds really interesting and fun also. I would like to know about how you fixed on this, topic, this area of interest, because that is also a very challenging step for many of the students. What is the subject that they really want to do research on? Because in research, you bring on these topics, and then the professors, then the people say that these are too extensive for research, and then you have to narrow it down. So, what was your process of coming to this topic?
Yeah, so I think in every field, you can always narrow down your search or narrow down your interests, I would say. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes. You're audible. Yeah, continue.
Okay, so I mean, in every field, you can narrow down your interests. So in chemistry, if you broadly like, narrow it down, so organic, inorganic, physical chemistry will come. So in masters itself, I think you narrow down your interests already. Like, okay, you like this particular field, and then you like say you like physical chemistry, so you like organic chemistry, and then from there you again further you can like for research, and then again you can narrow down your space. So I think like the decision has to be made in masters, I think, right? When you want to do a PhD, the step stone is your masters. So during your, I think again I would say that during your master project, just choose your project very wisely according to what you like. So like, if you like physical chemistry, so choose that, okay, you will do your master project in physical chemistry. So in the university itself, in physical chemistry, there'll be professors working in different fields of physical chemistry. Then you can go into their websites. Like, now you have the access to internet, I think. So during your master's, you need to use the internet, like, you need to do deep dive into internet and use it for a good reason for once at least, So you can go into their webpage and start reading their papers, like, okay, this sounds interesting to me. Of course, you don't know a lot about it, but when you hear and it can like incite some kind of like, interest in you, and then from there you can choose that, okay, that I will do research in this field. So for me, it was like during my master's, like I said, during my MTech, because in MSc I did like a very different project. It was not related to what I do now. But in MTech, when I was applying for the scholarship, so I went into the websites of the professors here, and I narrowed down nanochemistry. Like I thought that, okay, I will do nanochemistry. So then it's like easy for you to narrow down people also, like, whom you will write and whom you will consult for a PhD. So I narrowed down that, okay, I will do nanochemistry. Then I started looking that, okay, I will do. So this professor was working with this particular field. So like, okay, then I said that, yeah, this sounds interesting. I want to do it. Then I came and then I started a master's, and still I'm doing this. And I hope I will keep doing this.
Okay, yeah, you have wonderfully break down everything, it's very easy to grab the information. So if we speak in context of Northeast India, how do you see the position of the students of Northeast going to study abroad, because even now also there are not a very good percentage of students or people from Northeast who are out there. So where do you see the status, and what do you think is the gap that is still not met?
So when I am here, I see a lot of Assamese and people from Northeast. But maybe this number is small when you think in a larger picture. Like, when I think of it, like, yeah, I know so many Assamese people here. They are doing good. But when you think of a larger picture, probably it's not. I don't know. But I can tell from my experience. So I was doing my master's in MSc in Guwahati University. So when I look back, and then when I think of the percentage of people who came out abroad to study, is very few. I think per batch it would be one, per batch it would be two people maximum. And I think like the biggest people hold themselves back. I think probably it's finances, or probably I don't know, I don't very brave enough to explore. It's very from the thought of it, probably it's very not intimidating to a few people, and also probably for a batch, of course, it's understandable, the finances, because they think that, how will they sustain themselves, right? So I think if you want to do, and if you want to do during your master's, you just need to decide that you want to do, and then you need to diving in your master's itself. The fear comes when there is like a gap of time, and then how will I sustain myself now? That's when the fear comes. But if during your master's you begin your search and begin applying to professors, and then you get lucky. Of course, use this word because it's it exists. I would say 100 people would write to professors, and 10 of them would get a reply. And so yeah, I think do that during your master's, and so that you don't have a wait period, and then so that you don't have to worry that, okay, how will I sustain myself now? So they prefer that, okay, I start applying for jobs and then I get a job, and then that will be sufficient for me. But if you want to do it, then I would say start early, so that you don't have this mind backlog that how will I do my finances, how will I sustain myself? I think that's the main reason that I see, at least.
Yeah. Yes, wonderfully said. So, but you also have met many Assamese people there at Germany, right? How has life been there after you shifted? What are your work hours and everything? What is the cultural difference? How do you deal with it?
I mean, when you come outside, one of the reasons I wanted to study abroad was that I really like exploring the world. So, and when you come here, I think there are a lot of cultural differences. Of course, they have been brought up in a different weather. They're brought up differently. So there are huge cultural differences, of course, but then you have to be like, respectful of every one of them, I would say. And that when you come abroad, you develop it very wonderfully, I would say. So you meet people in one place, in one pot, like you have so many different people from different cultures. So in one research environment, it's not just the Germans. So it will be people from China, people from the Middle East, people from everywhere. So you get exposed to lot of different cultures, and then you start being respectful. So in a professional environment, you cannot say that, oh, I don't like this, why do you do this? And then you start keep shut, and then you keep thinking that, okay, they do this for a reason, right? So then like this instinct of respect for other cultures, which is very important now in this world, I believe, that develops. So I think one of the main reasons, like main advantages of studying abroad, is that you develop this mindset of respect for other cultures, and yeah, like also at the same time, like when you're away from home, you start missing people, of course, missing your own culture and own language. Yeah, that's how I met many people from Assam here. So yeah, so now we are very good friends, and we try to celebrate like all our festivals like Bihu and everything. Yeah, so so it's a balance of like embracing another's culture, but also holding on to our roots and holding on to our own culture. Yeah. And work hours, I would say, like it's very flexible here. So if when you're a PhD student here, then you don't, like most people here think PhD to be like a 9 to 5 job. So most like Germans, like I would say, they would like come very early in the morning, like 8, 9, and they would leave by 5. So because they want to keep like very good work-life balance. So that's how to do it. But like, yeah, it's not like very fixed that you have to come early and go early. So it's flexible. Like if you want to come at 10, leave at 6, leave at 7. So, but like it depends, like, on your experiments, on the way you plan your experiments, how long they will run. And a life of a PhD student, like even if you go back home, like, you cannot be detached from your work.
Yes. The network.
Same time, it's depends, like, how long you want to work. So for me right now, I'm writing my thesis. So it's like very hectic right now. So I come in the morning and then I leave late. But yeah, it just depends on how you want to do it. It's no hard and fast rule.
Yeah, so you definitely bring back a lot of learnings if you are out there exploring, because you meet all these people and all these different languages, different cuisines. So that is a big learning. And then about your work hours also. So it is flexible. So it depends on how you take it forward. Also, how long would your PhD take? Like how many years basically it takes around to?
A standard PhD, like at the start, like they usually give you funding for 3 years.
Okay.
So basically, a PhD here, they would say that 3 years, but it depends also, like, like when you can't finish your PhD in 3 years, like for me, I feel like PhD, 3 years of PhD is really short, because like 1 year you take to learn, 1 year you start settling up, and then you also need time to write your thesis. So if your time is up, like 3 years is up, then there's a huge chance that you will get like an extension. So like a standard time, I would say 4 years. For me, it's now like 3 years are over. So now I'm in my 4th year. I think I will finish before like 4th year, like 4th year finishes. So it's like 4th year, 3 years, 7, 8 months, I will finish my PhD.
Okay, that's great. So, how do you like to carry it after this? What have you thought of, any plans? Have you thought of settling there or coming back to India?
Like I don't have such long future like plans, but for now, I think I want to stay here and do a postdoc. So after a PhD, you can do a postdoctoral research here. That gives you again like contract for 2 years at a stretch. So you can do multiple postdocs also. But for the start,
that is basically like a job, right?
Yeah, basically like a research job. So, but it's contract, like it's not you're not there for a long time. So it's like 2 years, and then it's very like 3 years and 4 years of PhD. You like how much can you learn in 3 years, I think. And then you need more and more exposure, also exploring different, like, areas of your spectrum. So that's why I will do a postdoc here. So I'm currently looking for positions, applying, like going through the same process like one master student would go through. So yeah.
Okay, so that has
the long run,
already, already
yeah, it has
started.
already started. Yes.
Okay. How does the job and industry function work there basically in Germany?
Jobs, you mean like
That market, job,
industrial
yes.
jobs? I don't know. I am like from the field of academia, but from the job sector or the industrial companies, I don't have much knowledge, and I'm not the right person to ask. But like when I look at others, I see that it's there. So it's like, I think I read somewhere like Germany also has a shortage of skilled laborers. So they want like skilled people who have like, IT knowledge or some technical knowledge which they can apply. Yeah, so like when you have done your master's here, I think it's very easy for you to find a job. I think from what I look around. Also, after your PhD, you can move into industry, not necessarily stay in academia. And after that, also you can start looking for a job here. It's not impossible. Like it's, I think, fairly easy. Not easy, I would say, but you have to look. But then you will get a job, I think, and also it pays really well. And yeah.
So also any language test necessary?
For Germany, I don't think there's a language test necessary. For
no
UK.
English. Okay.
No, I think for UK, but maybe there are other countries in Europe that they require, or maybe I think in UK
like
also
TOEFL
they need,
or
yes, and TOEFL they need all this. But for Germany, I don't think they are very like it's English is not very widespread here that you need to prove that you need to really know, like a lot of English. Yeah.
Okay. So also going back to when you shifted there, I know it's a very basic question, but can you explain your visa application process? Because that is also a thing that many students are not aware of.
I think when you apply for a visa in Europe, basic like one other documents, like of course you will have the only one document which everyone will need is a proof that you have like the money to sustain yourself. So that's like the biggest proof that you need. So that like when you are employed as a PhD student, that becomes very easy because the professor or his secretary will give you like a document which says that okay, this person has a work contract with us, and then you get this amount. This person will get this amount of money per month. Also, if you have a scholarship and not an employment contract, then the scholarship letter works as your means of sustenance. So when you have this document, I think it's a very easy process of applying for a visa. Just need to have all go to the site of VFS, check all the documents that you need, and then give them all the documents with your passport, and then you get your visa. But for a master's student, I think it's a little bit different, because if you don't have a scholarship when you are a master's student, and then you are enrolled in a university, and then you want to apply for a visa, I think you have to show, that you have money to sustain yourself. And for that, I think they need to open a block account where you need to show like 10,000 euros or something, that like 10 lakh rupees or something, that in this account there is this amount of money which you can take out monthly, of course, like 700 euro or something you can take out monthly for your means of livelihood and everything. So these are the two things. Like for a master you need, I think, a blank account, and for a PhD you already have a contract and you already get paid. So the rest of the things are like go to internet and find VFS. I think you get everything there.
So about internet, since you've already brought it up, so any websites or blogs to keep updated about research openings in Germany? Would you like to state any names of such websites, anything that you also followed personally, or of any top?
Yeah, right now, right now, I think my morning begins with like a search through
Yeah.
Twitter, I would say. So I like,
Okay.
but for that, you have to follow a lot of people in that field, I would say. So Twitter works in a particular algorithm, I think, and then you start following this people of this field, and then they will keep suggesting people from this field, and then these people also retweet. So someone has a position, so they will tweet there that I have a position, and then supposedly, even if you don't follow that person, some other person whom you follow in that field, that person sometimes retweets, and then you come to know of these positions. So also, like, when I don't know how they work. I know they have like some amazing algorithm. I don't know, every time I wake up in the morning, I see someone tweeted a post that position. But yeah, for me, it's now I'm looking for a very particular field, very particular research. So sometimes it doesn't matches. But when you're looking for a PhD, I think it can be very helpful because you are open to a lot of positions, and it's not very narrowed down. So there's Twitter, there's LinkedIn. Also, there are in Germany, I think there's Indeed, Indeed jobs, and Stepstone jobs is there. Also, like a quick Google search also sometimes shows open positions. So yeah, so I think but like for LinkedIn and Twitter, I think we have to follow all these people in that field. Then you will come to know some positions.
Yeah. Yes, that is also very essential. How to use judiciously the social media platforms. Yeah, then you can be very well aware of all the information out there. So, speaking of, apart from your professional academic life, what do you do in your free time? Like, because it has been so much of academics, research, and then you're also thinking of postdoc. So, how do you juggle?
Now currently life is not very I would say, like, when people look from outside, okay, living abroad is so fun. Now currently, like, because I'm writing my thesis, it's very stressful. So here also one more thing, that you have to come prepared, that you have to live an independent life. And this is also like more than academics, and you also get to learn a lot, like to stay, how to stay independent and do everything independently, from cooking to cleaning to even my curtains, drilling holes in the walls, everything you have to do. Like, my apartment was like, it did not have even a light the day I came here. If I know people who have built kitchens here, so so you get like a very apart from academia, you get like knowledge from all spheres of life. So now I think now I have to do everything. Sometimes it gets into your head because you think of the comfort in India, that okay, you just ask someone to cook food for you, or just order food, and then you get like very easily. Now it's like not very like sugar coated my life, but otherwise, yeah, of course, like before starting my PhD, it was, I think everyone has a very good work-life balance here. So like weekends they take off, everyone goes on, like families, friends, everyone have very good work-life balance. So we also have like took weekends off, and then like traveling around Europe. And once you're here, you get the Schengen visa, which applies for the whole Schengen region, so not only Germany. So all like the countries that come under the Schengen visa, like everywhere, I think France, Italy, Switzerland, and all of these Schengen areas will be covered in your visa. So you can easily travel around and go to these places. And yeah, so that's how I I like traveling. So I did a little bit of traveling like during the start of my PhD. Yeah, that's how.
Okay, I think I have we have almost covered everything that was necessary, all the information, like how to get there and what was your journey. And thank you so much for sharing your story. It was really, really very motivating and also beneficial for the students out there. So moving ahead, I would like to ask you, what do you think of our initiative of Advancing Northeast now that you have also joined, our platform? So any say on it?
I think it's a very nice initiative for people to connect, at least to get to know each other's story, because every person's story is different, I would say. So, and then everyone can learn from that story, even if it not replicate from it. So it's a very nice platform where people can come and look in their, like, career path which they want to take, and then get to listen to a story which, like, can motivate them or give them, like, an idea of this sector. So I think it's a really nice initiative.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So lastly, any message, any words of advice for our audience over there watching?
Yeah, I don't know if I am eligible for giving advice, but yeah, I think for, like, who wants to do a PhD or who wants to do master or wants to study abroad, particularly, I think you need to be brave. Like, you don't have to be scared of stepping into the unknown, and just need to apply. If you are thinking that, okay, I'm restricting yourself from applying to a scholarship or writing to a professor, like thinking of rejections and all these things. So, like, you need to keep out the negativity and just think, like, just go ahead, take the leap of faith. I would say you don't have anything to lose at the end of the day. Yeah, so that's it. Just be brave, and if you want to do it, like, it's there are doors which will open up. So you just need to, keep searching for it.
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much, Ankita, once again. It was a pleasure to have you, and it was a really, really beautiful session. I also learned a lot of things myself. So we hope to connect with you maybe in our offline sessions as well. So it was wonderful. Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was really.
Yeah, thank you.